welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. If you have not yet watched part one of this series, you have to watch part one because in part one, we set up the problem we're about to solve for in this video. We're actually going through a real world case of someone who actually got this problem. They were doing a business analyst interview and they were given a problem to solve and they were asked to do a BA interview presentation of the problem. And I'm walking you through what that presentation will be, but you won't really understand it unless you've watched part one. So if you haven't watched it yet, jump over there, watch part one. But if you have, let's continue. Let's get into this because it's going to be great. So here's a presentation that we're going to make talking about this Wealth Messenger app. It's a little bit long, but they didn't give us a timeline, so we're just going to assume we have the entire hour, and we're going to make the best use of that hour. Maybe a presentation will be 30 minutes or at least 25 minutes, and then you'll open the floor up for questions and have time for them to digest what you've told them, all right? So let's start by doing this slideshow here. So I start off with a picture of myself because I'm trying to use every opportunity I can to imprint my brand, my face, my name on my interviewers, right? So if you put something else there, that's fine, but I would not want to miss out on being able to imprint my brand on them. And so I start off by saying, okay, this is the presentation I'm making about the new messaging app. And then you introduce yourself. I'm Karaleise. You talk a little bit about your work experience, your education, maybe your culture. Don't spend too long on this, right? This is like a half a minute talking about yourself. And then you go into what you like to do outside of work. So in this slide, you can be more professional, like talking about your work experience and stuff like that. And on this slide, you're going more into your person. So you want to give them a full picture of who you are. So, for example, if it was me and said, my favorite things to do outside of work is to spend time with my dog, Jackson. I also like to go on hikes. I like to look at water bodies and waterfalls. And I also spend a lot of time with my daughter, Chanel. Right? Very quick, very to the point, but it leaves them with a picture that you are more than just a person coming to look for a job from them, but you have a life, right? You have a kid, you have a dog, you have things that you like to do. So it kind of answers, what do you do outside of work kind of question. And you want to put that out there. Again, this also helps to imprint your brand and help them to make you memorable. So first you get into what they ask you to do in the brief, right? So the presentation brief is asking for building a new messaging application to integrate into the wealth platform. It allows the wealth management firms to communicate directly with their clients. It allows communication between clients, which are the end investors, and the client investment managers. So the wealth platform utilizes the Bootstrap and with Angular. Bootstrap is Angular. So that's just the technology on which it is based. The expectation of this interview presentation is to prepare a high-level overview of the solution, to prepare a high-level product backlog to deliver the proposed solution, to prepare supporting documentation, and to have a justification for the software or framework that will be used to accomplish this solution. So the reason you're doing all of this is because you want to remind everyone in the room what you're here to do. Because not everybody in the room may have remembered what was on that brief that they sent you. And some people in the room just probably was not a part of the whole interview process. So you don't want to go in there and just start talking about the stuff. You got to remind them that this is what the expectation was set for you to do in this presentation. And this is the scope of what you'll be talking about, okay? So it helps to bring everybody on the same page. And then you get into your key considerations. So the first thing you want to do is you don't want to talk about the solution because you have to explain and understand the problem, and you have to let them know that you need to look at the problem before you go to the solution, because you are an analyst, because you have analytical skills, because you know that it's not just to solve the problem, but you have to know what the problem is to solve in the first place, right? So you're going to say, when you go into your key considerations, that you've made some assumptions about how the wealth management environment and industry works. And you're going to share with them some of those assumptions for you to be able to understand the root cause of the problem you're about to solve. So one of the things that you're going to say is that the first thing you wanted to find out is, what do investment managers communicate to their clients about? So in your research, you found that there are two types of communication that's happening between the investment manager and the client. and it's in either a value add touch point or a value capture touch point. So when you say a value add touch point, what you mean is the advisor's sole motivation is providing value to the client. So they are serving up articles about investments. They're serving up, text messages about, happy birthday or something to build a relationship. So it's not just only talking to them when you have something to sell them, but it's about building a relationship, being able to show them that you care about them and their well-being, as well as being able to give them value capture touch points, which are the things where you need to sell them something. So the interest is mutual, where you want them to purchase something and they're going to benefit from it as well. So the combination of these two touch points is really how they keep and grow their business and their relationship. And these are the things that the investment managers are communicating to their clients about. Now, pause there. The people in the room that you're going to be talking to may or may not know if you know about the industry, and it's okay if you don't know. If you don't know, it's okay to make assumptions. You just need to tell them that you are assuming this about their industry, right? They're not there to tell you if you're right or wrong. They want to see how you're able to present even something that you're not expert in. So it's okay if this is not true, that they're communicating about something else. That's fine. The point is that this is the research that you've done, and this is the finding that you're presenting to them based on your assumptions. That's fine. So the next thing you want to jump into is the current workflow problem. So you can say that right now, based on your research, right, you have uncovered that the majority of the communication that's been happening between the investment managers and their clients is in person. And then there's phone calls, there's email, there's text messages. And the reason for that is because the nature of the product is finance. It's retirement funds, it's portfolios, it's very personal. And so having a communication in person is usually the best way, because people want to hear from their investment managers when something is going wrong with their money, right? Or even going right with their money. So having that personal touch is important. So the majority of clients enjoy having the communication in person, and that's what the investment managers are doing. So the classic relationship driven business model of communication channels, such as telephone, email, and face to face, will not become obsolete. You're not going to replace this. You're not going to replace talking to a client with a technology that allows you to send them text messages. However, there is a shift from personal interaction to digitally enabled client interactions, but intelligent solutions and social media. So the world is shifting, and this is from an article from Deloitte, which you've linked down here if anybody wants to look at it, where they've analyzed the wealth management industry and they've seen that there's a shift in how they communicate to their clients. Now, a lot of young people have become more wealthy in the last 10 or so years, and these younger people want to be communicated with in a different way. And so the wealth management has to adapt to this change. It has to include additional means of communication, not to replace what they're already doing, but to also help the younger generation who wants to be communicated in different ways, right? This is a very important point, people. You have to help to show them that you're able to do this kind of analysis, that you understand the problem well enough to know where the limitations are. It's not that they're not communicating, they are. The wealth managers are communicating. They're just using phone and email and text messages to a lesser extent. But the younger generation is looking for something different. They're looking for something more real time, something that's digitized, something that's personalized to them. By you being able to create that with the Wealth Messenger app, you'll be able to, serve the market and meet the needs and expectations of the younger clients who are now joining in the wealth management industry space. So, as a process, typically the communication is happening in these four ways, and it's in all different directions. So, you could start off with a phone call, which leads to an email, then they come in person, then you send them a follow up text, or you send them a text and then they come in person and you give them a phone call after you send an email. So, all of these ways of communicating is happening in different order and all at once sometimes. So, they're using these means right now to communicate, but the market is saying that they need additional ways. Hey, you. Do you like the video? Do you like it? You like it? You like it so far? Okay, well, click the like button. Click the button. Click the like button. So if you really like it for real, like the video. But if you don't like it, or you're not sure, then okay, just leave it alone. But if you like the video, get value from it, I need to know. So click the like button, and while you're there, if you haven't subscribed yet, just click the subscribe button too, okay? That's all I need from you, okay? I give you value, you give me likes and subscribe. Thank you very much. Now back to the content. So the main problem that we're solving with the current process is that the classic communication channels are no longer enough. Younger wealth management clients expect smarter digitalization services, and clients demands better personalized communications. Very important. So what you're doing here is you're pulling all of the things that you assume together, and you're helping the interviewers in the audience to see what the problem is that you're solving before you even show them a solution. Right? That's very important. So now you can move on to your solution, right? So now here's a solution overview. So the messaging app will help in three main ways. It's going to help to stand out in the industry. It's going to help to have a personalized service. It's going to help provide differentiation in the industry, which is one and three kind of seem like the same, but it's really important to be a differentiator. So here are some of the high level requirements for the messaging app. So it will allow two-way communication between wealth managers and clients. It allows clients to receive notification and also to send. It's integrated and embedded messaging with the wealth management platform. So embedded means I'm already inside the application. I'm already in my system, and I can see a pop-up of a message whenever a client sends something to me, right? So I don't have to leave and go somewhere else to see this right there embedded inside of the system I'm already working in. Integrated means that when there's a message from the wealth management platform, if I also have the messenger app on my phone, it's integrated so they're able to sync and be able to send the messages real time, same time, right? It allows my admins to manage the application backend. So there's a backend piece of it to configure and to manage so that the wealth management firm can have some control over how the app is being used. Here's some additional key features: ability to send and receive messages to a user, and also ability to send and receive messages to a group, ability to view the profile of each user, ability to be notified when a message is received. So you can see that notification badge number start incrementing 2, 3, 4 for the number of messages that you've received. Ability to add a topic to the conversation. So you might be talking about this portfolio, and all the information about that, all the chat messages below that are kind of grouped under that topic. So it's easier for you to follow. Ability to read, to see a read receipt, meaning that I can know that somebody read my message because it shows like it was read, not just delivered, but also read. Ability to define an address book. So here are all the clients that I talk to regularly. Let me put them in an address book, and then I can send them messages as a group, right? There's also some admin features. So ability to create a user profile. So I can say this is a client profile, a staff profile, an admin profile. Ability to configure if the users can add participants. So these are like high level features. Can you add a participant? Do you have the rights to do that? Can you export a document? Things like that. Ability to download the chat conversation. So now you can get a copy of the chat conversation, being able to, have an audit log. So when did somebody log in, when they didn't log in, who they talked with, who they added to the conversation, and things like that, how to log all that stuff. And sync between the mobile and the web app. Other key features: you can send attachments and documents. You can send a push notification. You can export the transcript of the conversation. You can search across the chat. So maybe you have a chat with one person on multiple days or whatever. You'll be able to search for that keyword to see when and when did you say this word. And sending a blast chat. So you just blast to everybody in the organization, not necessarily by a group. Okay. So these are some of the key features, not exhaustive. There could be more for sure, but just a sample. These are some of the ways that I have broken down this big problem of how to come up with this messenger app and made it into smaller, more manageable chunks, right? So I've also done a mock-up of what this could look like from a screen perspective. Here's an example of being inside the app and having a conversation with a wealth manager, and they can also add links into the chat as well. Here's an example where we can add PDF documents. It could also be Excel documents, probably even image into the chat so that they could be more details. There's definitely more screenshots I could add into that, and that would really take up all of the time. But I've just added two to show you how the conversations could could grow with the thread, and or we can add documents that would be very helpful if you're having a conversation around your wealth management. So the methodologies and frameworks out there, there's two main ones, waterfall and agile. And when I say agile, I mean agile scrum. So for waterfall, you'd have to design everything up front, have all the requirements written up front before you even touch the code, and hand that off to a different team that goes off in silo to build and then show you what they've built at the end of it. It's good for some processes and some projects, but I think for our project it may not be the best option. There's also Agile Scrum, which is more adaptive to change, iterative delivery, and constant communication, so we can continually improve. So I would suggest that we use the Agile Scrum methodology for developing this messenger app. So what's the benefit of using an agile methodology? It delivers faster. So deliver smaller increments sooner. You learn faster. You can adapt to change. There is continuous improvement of the team, so you continually become better and better. Here's an example of the items that are in the backlog. So you could have, several items. Right now I have 16, but this could be broken up into way more user stories. But here's an example of how I would break up this big feature into individual user stories. And inside of each of these user stories would be detailed acceptance criteria that would help the QA team know how to test for each of these. So in summary, I have prepared an analysis of the current as is state. I've shown you a detailed analysis of the problem. I have conceptualized high-level overview of the solution. I've shown you mock-ups of the screens and what they could look like. We've gone through a justification of the software or framework to be used, and we have chosen the Agile Scrum framework because that's best suited for what we're trying to build. And I've also shown you high-level product backlog on all the items that we probably need to deliver the proposed solution. And there could be many more that we'd add as we get into it. So that's what I've been able to demonstrate in this presentation. So why should you hire me, right? I really believe that I exemplify the things that you're looking for in your business analyst. I've been able to demonstrate analysis of the current as is state, analysis of how to derive at the root cause of the problem. So I didn't just jump into what's the solution, but I went into depth about what the problem is and how did we get here? What are we really solving for? I've also been able to conceptualize the solution, providing a high-level document of the solution, right? So the things that I've shown you, even this presentation is a part of the documentation. I could get into even more details about that if you wanted a detailed documentation. I've been able to recommend the best framework to be used for this development. I've designed screens and mock-ups to show you what it could look like. I've prepared the backlog for you. I have some good documentation skills. I want to show you how I could actually write user stories that would go with these product backlog items. And I have great collaboration and great liaison with the technical team. So I really believe that I would be the best person for this job. I believe that the job aligns to me. I like it. I love the industry. I love the idea of working on best in class software for this industry. And so I believe that you should hire me for this job. But if you have any questions, please let me know. What I did there? Do you see what I did there? I ended it with my pitch. Nobody can argue with the fact that I showed them all these things, which is what they're looking for, right? So do you think that if somebody got a presentation like this for the problem that they gave us, that they wouldn't consider you for the job? I think they would. I think they would. And actually, if you want to see more in-depth analysis, what I showed you here is scratching the surface. I am just scratching the surface. There's more. So if you go to my website and you join my group, I have a group. I haven't named it yet. I think I'm going to call it the Back Office Club. I'm not sure yet. But I have a group that I'm setting up with some premium videos. And so if you go to my website and you're able to log in, you can see the full, more detailed presentation that I would make if I was going up for the job, where I get into much more depth. I get into the problem deeper. Like, what is the real problem? I compare things. I show them analysis. I show them results. I show them, I go into it. I'm so excited because it's just fun for me. I love to do this kind of stuff, right? And then when it comes to the backlog, I go into each of these backlog items and show you what the user stories will look like and how would you write these user stories. I get into much more detail about the mock-ups and how they should look. I also get into details about what's the future state. So this is what we're going to do for MVP, but what would be the new things that we would add in the future? How would this scale? Where would it take this? How could this help us really get into our clients, become loyal for our clients and become sticky for our clients and help us to be differentiated in the market? Oh my goodness, you need to go see that fuller presentation. That one is paid to be a part of my paid group. That's how you get to see it. I hope by the time you see this video that it's all set up on my website and you're able to go there, pay to join the back office club and be able to get all of these kind of analysis that would help you really make a difference in your interviews. Go in there and nail it, right? So I thoroughly enjoyed sharing this with you. I thoroughly enjoyed just, walking you through what you should do if you get a problem like this. How should you approach it? What you should do with it, right? So thank you so much. So there you have it, guys. There you have how you structure the answers for your business analyst presentation interview, how you structure your slides, how you walk through the idea from the simplest to the most complicated, how you explain the things that you know and you don't know, how you articulate yourself in the interview, right? All of these things are important, right? So it's not about having a right or wrong answer. It's about how can you defend what you're coming up with, how can you present it, how can you have that dialogue that's clear and easy to understand. So I hope you got value from this interview presentation video. And if you like the video, please like the video, right? And if you want to subscribe, please go ahead and subscribe. Check out my website. Check out all the other tools I have, the templates, the courses, all that stuff. It's there for you on my website, karaleise.com. And if you need personalized help, you can book a session with me, and you can find that link on the website as well. Looking forward to working with you guys. See you later. Bye.